So I'm sure it was exciting and probably I don't know if it was draining at the time. It sounds like like any new business owner, any new startup company entrepreneur, at least from my own experience, 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days, 7 days a week for years and years, sometimes without seeing a lot of return. How were the first, 5 years of Sounds True for you?
Oh my. Well, I'm sure if you averaged out how much money I made, it might have been $1 an hour or something like that. It didn't matter to me. That wasn't the point. There were several things about this that worked for me. One was that I was learning. And when I told you I was on a path to be an academic, the reason was because I loved learning. But what I realized was that I liked a different kind of learning. I liked, you could call it transformational learning. I liked learning things that made me different, not just ideas upon ideas that were stacked on other people's ideas. So the big thing was that I was getting the type of degree in spiritual evolution and growth that I wanted. So that was pretty big. And, I joked to myself that I was getting paid to learn instead of paying to learn. So that was like my little personal Tami jokes. That was pretty big. And then secondly, I was creating relationships with the greatest living spiritual teachers of our time. I mentioned to you that in my house, I was lonely. You shared that was also to some degree your experience. Like, who do you talk to about? So now I have people to talk to. I was actually interviewing them and selling cassette copies of our conversations. And I was learning things and I wasn't so lonely anymore. I had people I could talk to about the things that meant the most to me. What was that worth? You know what I mean? And then on top of it, I was supporting myself. It wasn't even really about running a business. I didn't think of myself as a business person or an entrepreneur. In fact, at one point, the Boulder Daily Camera wrote up a story about Sounds True, and they told me it was going to be on the front page of a section of the Camera and that I should look for it on X date. And when I went to go look for the story, this was after being in business for maybe 5 or 6 years, it was not in the lively arts section where I thought it would be for whatever reason. It was in the business section. I was surprised. I was like, oh my God, it's the business section. What I was thinking was that somehow I would make a contribution that would be some convergence of art and social change, education, art, social change, something like that. I didn't even really think about it as a business. Of course, I wanted to support myself. But then as time went on, I started developing a way of being with other people who were working with me, that my goal was for it to be consonant and coherent with the spiritual teachings we were putting out, that the process of our work should reflect in a beautiful and harmonious way the products we were putting out. And I wanted the great wisdom holders, the great lineage holders that I imagined in space, not in physical reality, but throughout time. I wanted them to be proud of Sounds True. I wanted them to look at the company and say, look how that company's run. Look at its principles. Look how they treat each other. Look how much they're dedicated to embodying the virtues in their work. Look at how they treat their customers. That I wanted to feel that glow about the business in every step we took. And part of it was one of my principles early on was that there's no difference between the means and the ends. And I saw a lot of people in business that engaged in all kinds of means to accomplish what their end was. So their end might be, at the end of the day, we're going to donate X amount of money. And, it's okay. We kind of made this deal where we got a better deal, but, look, we're donating money. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Every step is the destination. There is no future destination that is not about how we operate now and now and now.
Beautiful. I mean, I love the profound integrity that Sounds True embodies, and that's because of your principled thoughts and ideas and actions. And I think we need more companies like this in the world. I was at Wisdom 2.0 with you recently, and you were a speaker there, and I was watching you speak on stage, and someone had asked you about the separation between spirituality and business. And your response was something along the lines of, when did we ever take spirituality out of business? Or when did we ever decide that spirituality shouldn't be in business? Can you talk a little bit more about that perspective? I thought your response was just so profound.
Yeah, well, I think the reason I said that is I think so often in our contemporary world, we're trying to put pieces back together. And I have this thought of like, well, how did they become pieces? Because inside me, there's just my inner drive. And what is my inner drive as a person? And, people's inner drives may be different things, but my inner drive, I want to create. Like as a person, I really want to create. Okay, some people say that's very entrepreneurial. Fine. I don't know. I want to create. So I want to give my gifts. I want to be of benefit to other people. I want to make money. I want to have money. It makes me feel safe and secure and like I have resources and that I'm empowered. All of those things are woven together inside me. I want to have loving relationships. And I want to have relationships that grow deeper in time, where there's a lot of truth that's shared. All of these things are woven inside me. Now I'm a carpet for this metaphor, but that's okay, to make the carpet of who I am. And if you pull any like one little strand out and you look at it, it's just like a strand of thread. It's not a carpet. It's not a gorgeous thing. So it's the whole of who we are. And in that sense, the whole of who I am is a spiritual person and a business person. Yes.